I hope they recorded. That's what I did here, record. So hopefully you're recording. Okay, great. Hello, I hope you can hear me. My name is Majed Al-Gandour. I'm professor at the UMUC, University of Maryland, University College. And I want to welcome all of you, including my session students and my other fellow professor students, Professor Carey, Professor Parsna, and others. Welcome all. Thank you for your time to attend our first session for Data 620, Data Management and Visualization. This will be our session, WebEx or Zoom, we call it now, session to introduce Python and Tableau. This session hopefully will be recorded and link will be sent to your professor, and also I will add it to my course materials. Please be sure that you have your microphone or phone is muted unless you want to ask any questions at the end of the presentation to make the classroom clear, only for instructor presentation. We really appreciate that, and thank you very much. Let's go ahead and start it. Today, the 23rd, we will have the first session where we'll introduce Python, and we'll make some demos and discussion about how to write first program. And then we'll do some errors to show you what's possible error you can get and how you correct those errors. We'll talk about variables in Python and how also to write some programs where you can have a user input. In addition to that, we'll do simple calculation and some operations. Then, if we have time, we'll go and talk also about basic list and dictionary as well. We'll do a couple of demos, kind of helping you to see that. Then we'll switch to the second part of this presentation, which is about 1 hour. We're going to introduce Tableau and how you connect to your data, and how you can save the data sources and understand the environment, how to browse within Tableau itself, and how to can build a couple of charts. And probably we'll go and show a couple of charts. Maybe the first one is the chart graphs. Next week, the same time, which is October 30, 2018, 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll continue this fun. We'll continue, I call them Python session 2. We'll go a little bit in depth for branching with F and LF, how to do a loop, how to define functions, and how you can try and accept, and how you read and write files. Also, we'll continue session 2 as well, where it presents your data using the following visualizations. We may work with more advanced charts, such as crosstab, heat maps, some geographic maps, pie charts and bar chart as well, and refer to reference lines, and then take you to the beautiful things that you can do in dashboard in Tableau, and to build your story, and you make your story, and finally save your files for submission to your homeworks, which is using TWVX. So welcome for all. Let's start first session. Python is a very easy script language where you can download it from python.org. When you do that, you can download it locally to your machine, or you can also use the AWS labs. And anytime you need help, definitely contact your FA or myself. We would like to helping you. If you don't mind, mute the phones. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. Python, you write a program, and the next sessions on this class or this Data 620, you will write a lot of Python's programs. Here, you need to be sure that you save the file with .py. That's the simple version of extension for Python. Just to get you an idea, you write the code in any editor you like, and we'll show you a couple of them, or just talk about them. Then with Python being installed in your machine locally or in the WAS, you will go and take that file, and Python will has that interpreter and will convert it to bytecode, and then within the virtual machine through installation, that's where you will execute this Python code. When you work with Python, as I said, be sure you install the latest and the greatest. Of course, I'll do my best to keep those slides up to date, but sometimes it's not like last night. So you may have 3.6, 3.7. So definitely, I recommend to install the latest. And when you install it, you just type IDLE in your machine, and we'll show you that through the demo. And then you will be able to see the Python installed locally or in your AWS. And the IDLE stands for Integrated Development Environment. And as my comment here, always download the latest Python version from python.org. So in Python is very simple language. Maybe you want to start comment your programs, and the easy comment is using the hashtags or the pound sign here, and you can go and do your statements, and they are very powerful. You can go to python.org through documentation if you're stuck. There's a lot of tutorials. Also, there's a lot of documentation as well. In addition, we are also resources for you if we can help. You can see the comment. You can put it in the top. You can put it in the side. Definitely, you don't want to put it inside your string. This is called a string. It's like a data that you kind of try to say, print hello Python. When you work with Python, you need to understand the data types. The major data types that you can work with: numbers, strings, and also there are very important 3 types, and that's where you'll do a lot of Python at the end of the sessions of this data 620, where you use a list and dictionary and maybe tuples. So these are 3 types of data type or data structures, and we'll go and show you those through the demos, either this session or the next week's session as well. When you do Python, is not smart enough because it is a script. So the variable, not like other programming languages like object-oriented. All right, let's see. I want to mute mine. Let's see who's. See if I can mute Matt. Matt, are you there? Could you please mute if this is from you with the background? Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, so as we said, Python is not smart enough because it's very small scripting interpreter. So if you say counter equal to 80, then you can say counter Majed with double quotes. He doesn't recognize until you put that value. So really, there's no declaration for the variable like other languages like C++ or Java and so on. So definitely, as soon as you assign a value and the value determine what kind of variable you are referring to, and that's what kind of comment to show you that. So this is an integer. This is a floating because the decimal point. This is where you have a string. Definitely select your variable in a good way to present the value and the description of what you try to do. Print, it's very easy. You can print right away to the variable, or also you can concatenate it with some comments or strings that you can present that. I'll go and show you those live as well. When you work with Python, definitely as we said, you open the IDLE if you're using Python IDLE. And there's other editors, as we mentioned. We can mention that there is a PyCharm, but definitely for this kind of session, we recommend to use IDLE. But if you're familiar with PyCharm and other editors, it's your call. We are interested really to see the results, screenshot, and also the code, which is the .py. So definitely we leave that to you, but we recommend to use very simple like this. So when you open the shell, you can see this is kind of interesting with 3 arrows. That's where the prompt here. But definitely you don't want to write the code here. We want to file, open a new file, and this is the one that you will save as .py. And this is the one that you will submit to your assignment if requested to submit your Python code, which is .py. This one is really useless. Just you run it and it's called the shell. I'll see that when we go to the demo. So let me explain this very quick. Here's the Python. I just have that. I'm going to open in a second here. But definitely we recommend to have a comments. So we know this is your program and kind of describe what exactly this program does. And in addition to that, if somebody maintains this in the future in real life, they know what you did. So we have a couple of print statements. And in the print statement here, you can concatenate. You can see here, print my first program, my second program line. Then let us calculate 1 plus 28. And everything in double quotes. When you put the comma here, it will concatenate this with this. Then you can see we take 1 plus 28. We want to be sure. You don't have to, but you want to be sure that it is an integer. Otherwise, it will be a string. So definitely, we want to confirm that we're using those function integers. So that will give you the calculation. Also, I added a couple of variables: salary, bonuses, taxes, and you can do very simple calculation. Take the salary, new variable will be the old variable, which is the 55,000 plus bonuses $1,000 and minus, or taxes actually I should be minus. I make a plus, which is interesting, right? Okay, assume it's another bonus taxes refund for you. So this is where now we're starting present this back to us in the screen. You say my total salary. Then again, you can use a comma here, or you can use a plus as well. Both will work very well. Now our salary is being calculated. We want to transfer it back to string because we concatenate it with the string as well, like you see there. So definitely, that's you will see it, and that's where you will be able to see this result back to you. Now, when you do that, this is string. So now you need to think about, okay, this is not presenting the real world currency or money values. So there's a function called f, which stands for format. Again, based on the versions that you're using. So if you're using 3.x, we call them not 2.7, which is an old. You can see there's a f here outside the function, the string, I'm sorry. And here, you put a $sign, then you embed it with braces the variable, then you put a colon and you put the format. So the format show me comma 0.2 f. So the comma for 1,000 point, which mean give me 2 decimals because currency, then f, it's a float. So after the colon, this is standard, and you should have the same order like you see there, and that's exactly where it give you the result. So this is the whole program, which we're going to run in a second, but I want to just kind of highlight the first part of it. And when you do that, you can see this is without the format, and this is with the format. So let me go ahead and pull this. So I'll break my slide, and I will go back. As I said, you can type IDLE here. And already I open it just for the, instead of searching. There you go. You see that already open here for me. So I'll go and pull the one that I have to open. So when you do that, you get the shell, and then you see the version, what you are working with. And again, we can say print, and you can see very nice. It tells you the syntax in front of you. And we're doing here just in the terms of on the shell itself. And that's where you say, give me the values, then you see the comma, that's where you go to the next value. And then there's other options if you want to spread them with a special delimited characters. You can also take them line to another line by using the /n and so on. So we'll go ahead and say hello data 620, for example. And you put those in double quotes and you press close that, and you can see as soon as you lock it, you see been highlighting in gray in the back, which means that print is accepted. There's no syntax error, and you get that. Now, Python is case sensitive, and you can see that if, say, you know, and you put like this, and when you do that, you get this not nice, the red one. Hopefully, you'll not see that in your assignments as well. So you can see print is not defined. He expected it as a function. He does not accept it as built-in print statement here. So definitely be careful about that. Also, if you type print here and you put, you know, double quote here, and you forgot to close that single double quotes, then it will tell you, hey, there's something wrong here, give you that. Then he tried to provide you with nice help as well. You can have a blank line like this, and you can see the blank line here, and you can see what those values. You can do, you know, 1 plus 8, for example, whatever number. So give you that. So straightforward, x equal 50, then type x, give you that. You can take that variable and add plus 6 times 3, for example, and then it gives you the result as well. So it's very cool. You can see that you can work with it, and you can. This is shell, so definitely we don't want to see this. We want to see your code. So the way that you open the code, you go File, New File, and this is where is the code that you save and you work with it, and you can see this is untitled. So let me go ahead and pull the file that I make for you for demo for tonight. So I'll go and say File, Open. Assume that I type it now. So let me pull one of them. And let's go and open this guy. You can see the extension .py. So you can see there's a shell. You can close the shell. And this is the Python file. And definitely we recommend to do comments. You can do 1 hash, 3 hash. It doesn't matter. It's just kind of whatever you want to do. And then you can see here's print my first program, print my second line program. So everything being quoted. You can have a blank. You can have /n. Then this is where we want to go and do the calculate. And this is the calculate. As we said, just to show to you earlier, we will go and add and take those as an integer and add them together. Here's my salary, and let's go and take minus instead of taxes. Assume those are deducted through the income, not refunds. So definitely that's help to see that. So this is will be calculating this, and now we can take that totals salaries, and you will look for that str. Then I said, well, let me show you how to do float. Then this is your string, everything in string. Then what we do, you embedded a placeholder using braces, open and close inside the double quotes. Then you specify your variable that you're interested to do. Then you can close it, but I need some formatting. So you put the colon, and then you put comma 0, 2, and F. Then you print that. So let me see if I can run the whole thing. Probably there's more, but let me just show to you. So we're going to run. When you run like this, or press F5, and if there's no error, see, I didn't save it because I changed the tax to minus. We're going to save it. And now he will go ahead and launch a shell. And the shell will be what you see there. Let's just focus on the first part here, which is it tells us that's exactly what we did run. So it prints for you that my first program, my second line, which is the one on the top here. and then we'll go ahead and show you 1 plus 28 equal 29. Then definitely we'll see the others where the salary here, string, you can see there's no commas, nothing. And the last one, which we added the format with string $sign. Now you can see the salary is being added because the 1000 and dot and 22 and 00 here as well. Then you have a blank line and so on. So let's move on this demo, and already we run it, so we'll go and just match it here. So then we say, okay, let's assume that you have an x equal 3 a value. Very interesting to see the type. Of course, you will not present that for a customer, but this is just to tell you to understand the type. So when you see that x equal 3, and it tell you, oh, the type of the x, it is an integer, everything classes, and that's the way they present back to you. Then we say, okay, go ahead and type x equal. So let me pull this here. Hopefully we can see it together. And you can see the x equal 3 here. And that's where the str equal 3 as well. Then print x plus 1. That's give you the 4 here. And then put some blank line, and that's exactly where's that line. So these very simple variables, you can do some mathematical calculations, and I think you have one of the exercises, you do like a temperature convert, something like that. So definitely those operations, very simple, hopefully make sense to you. In addition to that, maybe you want to go and work with some strings. So my demo here, we're adding some strings, and you can work with the strings. So you can use literals using single quote, double quote, still dealing with strings. So Python, he doesn't care. As soon as you put single quote, double quote, he assumes it's a string. Then you can print this back here, and that's what's hello back here, because the variable give you hello. And then you can have a function called length, the size of it. So that's give you 5 for the hello, which is here. Then you have print a blank line, which is here. Then we have another variable called s for string. Then you say hello double quote. Then we'll go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and take that. So these are functions within the string itself. Is capitalize, and capitalize will capitalize the first letter. You see it there. Then give me an upper. Here's upper things. So these just very quick on the fly, just give you a couple of string functions in Python that you're interested to look for these. Then if you're interested to do some alignment, so this is right justify, and you can see it's been to the right side here. And you give the padding or spaces 7. You can see he's center it as well. And you have another blank line here. You can do a lot of things in a string within Python. So now you can replace the letter L. Remember the S is hello. So you want to replace those two L's to ELL to replace the current to the new. You can see everything on single quote. So I put parentheses with ELL. Another L will be replaced by parentheses ELL, and so on. Finally, I don't know if you can see it. It's you want also to strip spaces before and after here. When you do that, you can see no spaces and that. So this is first exercise. Hopefully, it makes sense to you. So we can close the shell. Anytime we can close the shell. Again, to run it, you just press F5, or you can run. So this will generate a new shell, and it tell you where's the program, and that's where it till it's been running. And if you have no errors, it should be everything fine. Any question before we go? If you have a question, please unmute and go ahead. Okay. If there's no question, we can keep the question in the end as well. All right. So let me open another one. So we go demo 2, same directory. So I'll go and close the demo 1. Again, this one is kind of trying out to make a little bit further. And that's where we try to achieve by doing more code as well. So again, keep comments clean, who you are, dates, and what's the programs. I think it's more professional to keep that as well. Try to comment any line that you feel that it's not clear for the reader as well as programmers. So here, my second program, and we're going to ask you values, and we'll have a blank line as well. So now here we want to interact with the user. So the user will say input. So now we're going to ask the message. The message is basically enter number of hours. We're going to ask you that question. So that's going to prompt you into your Python console what exactly number of hours you work, for example. Definitely, there's a lot of way to do it here, but here say, okay, I'm interested, kind of take this. Remember, you type this in the keyboard, in the console, it's a string. So definitely we want to convert this to integer. So we use that, we saw that before earlier in the first demo. So now this string, let's say you work 40 hours, 80 hours, whatever, this will be converted from single quotes 80 to real number. And you can call the same variable like what we did salary, or you can have another variables and come with your convention, you know, integer hours, but you don't have to do these things. But again, clean coding so you can follow up later on about it. We're going to ask you the same question, what is your rate to pay? So we're going to prompt you, and we're going to ask the rate here. And again, the rate is kind of will be double quoted because it's a console from the keyboard. So again, this guy is now string. Now I would like to convert it to from a string to float. So using like exactly like what we did here for integer, we're going to use it float as well. Then again, you can assign it to the same variable, or you can come with different variable. It's your call what you want to do. And I'm showing to you these here in the bottom to show you what is the class type, what's the data type for the hours, what's the data type for integer hours and rate and float rate. Again, these are just for you, for so probably not show it to your application customers and so on. Then when we do get those values, now you do your computations, what you try to do. Of course, we can go, you know, overtime, bonuses, all that 9 yards. But very simple calculation, assume there's no overtime here. So you take your integer hours times float rate, you multiply them, that's give you kind of gross your pay. Then there's a lot of way, as I said, you can round it right away here, you can round it in the format, doesn't matter. So I want just to show you another function called round, and you are rounding all these values. You can see that's first parameter value, then comma 2, where you are rounding to 2 digits. Of course, you can round it to any digit you like. Then you take that gross pay, and here it is, converted string, and you can see I added plus. You can use a comma, either way is correct. So, so whatever format you like. And literally, we put just a $sign and so on. When you do that, you'll see this will not convert it to you know, a format as a currency because it's still literal as a string. So that's what we're going to show you in a second here. Then we talked about these guys there. So definitely that's helping you to visualize those values and work that. So there's another section in that. So let me run this. So at least we see the first part, which I explained, hopefully makes sense to you. So here we go. Let's go to the top here, can synchronize with the run here. Hopefully you can see that. My second program, and now he's prompting us to enter number of hours. So assume that you're doing 45 hours. Then he will ask you the second question, enter your rate. We're going to run it nicely, then we'll run it with a break so you can see the errors as well. So let's say your rate is with respect $15.89. Then we go with that. So what it does, it took that math and it give you this line here, which is tell you your total is 1715.05. Luckily, because it's two decimals, so work very well in this part here. And then you will see those here, those 6 variables, if you would. I tell you type or string, then we convert it integer, generate another string, then a float, and the gross pay is a float because being calculated as a calculated, it's not string. So definitely that's where we work with it. Now, when we go to the next section in this exercise that I built, say, okay, now let's go ahead and we'll go and run this again. And now we do what we call it while true. So while it's one of those block for loop, so you can run this until you achieve this condition. So if this is true, we'll go inside the while block. If it's false, we'll stop, or until you break it. And I did break it actually just to show you that. Now, in Python, they don't have braces like the body of the block. They have colon, then you have a tab. So anytime when you put a colon like this and you press enter, you see it's being tapped. And this tab is about 4 tabs. And those are by default. If you go to configuration of this, you will see that the tabs, it's probably somewhere here. Here you go, it's here. A different version, they move it a little bit down there. Here it is. You can see that tab, 4 tab spaces. So that's called indentation width. That's very important for the part of the tab you can see there. So this means everything here is part of the while until you see the next line at the end somewhere here. Definitely that's where the while. So if we're going to execute that, then you have a try and except. And maybe we'll cover that also in depth in the second section next week, but I want just to show it to you as well today so you can have a feeling about it and so on. So again, you are here, you put, there's the braces like block of the try this. So you're trying everything here. Then here's your except. Definitely, you can see now try by itself has a block. So now you can see you have 2 tabs, one for the while and one for the try. And that's exactly very important to see that. So we're going to say, hey, we'll calculate this with a try just to show you that. We're going to ask again the same values into number of hours, and we put that, then we'll convert it. So similar exercise we did above, but we're going to show you what's happened if you try to put wrong values. So if you got an error because we put wrong values, the wrong data type, that's where try this. If there's an error, you accept and you raise exception through the runtime. Then you have value error, can be exception general class, and you specify an object called ERR, and you want to print this back to you from the system, tell you what's going on. In addition, you can add any customized error back to you. So let's go ahead and run that. Already we run it here, and we are waiting for here my program to calculate with a try. So let's go ahead and run it first time is good. So let's say you have 65 hours. Let's put some money a little bit larger so you can see that. And again, I have to make this smaller here. So there you go. So you can see the floats work very well here with the commas. See that with the percent. That's exactly from this line, which here, this line here, show you that here. Make sense? So it's adjusted and put that. All right, and then let's see what else we have here. All right, so he's done from that. So let's go run this again. We're going to close this. Then we'll run this again, F5. Okay. And now the first part of it, remember here, we don't have try. So this is the first part. Let me go and say, hey, we have 50 hour or 40 or 30 or 20. Here we go. He said, we have a problem here. And you don't protect your code. Definitely that's not good for submission for any project or for a customer as well. So what's happened, this failed because you put 20, 40, 50, whatever hours as a literals, as a string. You try to convert it, there's no match for that. You get this error right away. And that's where the value error coming from. So definitely we know what's the problem there. So let's go, okay, we know what it is. We have another block, which is the second part. So let's show you now, if you run this again. So the first part, let's keep it nicely, 40 and $100.89, whatever. So you get that, good money there. And then now, here we go. Let's say we have 50. That's where we protected with the try. And now we can see with the try here, there's an error right away. He doesn't break it to you. He go and try to execute this for you, and that's exactly this line saying, you know, input must be numeric. That's the statement here. You can pull this up here. Input must be numeric and slash any new line. Then you get the error from the system, which exactly match with the one that we showed you earlier, and say, hey, there's a problem with converting the integer. The 50 doesn't convert it to numeric. And because we have the while, so it come back and try to give you another shot here. So let's say, okay, we have 40 and 122, for example. And now you can get nice formatting for the F here. And we have break it. Of course, you can make a menu, say, hey, if enter 5 or Q or exit, you can get out from that using the while conditions. So this is the second program. I want to be sure that you feel comfortable with it. And any question, please unmute before we go to Tableau. Okay, perfect. All right, it's about 38. So we'll do the list and the directory, the dictionary, and Tableau hopefully next week. So let's go ahead and close this. And close this. All right. So let's go to the next part, Tableau. Tableau also, it's very powerful visualization tool. And you can download it from tableau.com. And I think we give you, if you go back to your LMS in the beginning, where the software, there's where you can download it as a student, and you sign in. There's a key code or key license that posted on in that location. That's where you sign, and then we'll be able to get a valid license until the end of the semester. And that's exactly where Tableau try to serve us in. Or you can go to the LMS and also you find a Tableau. For any reason you can't do that, please contact your FA or your faculty like myself. We can help. We try to do a lot of good stuff, and these are just very quick demo here, and we'll go show you how we can do this live. But it's very nice as soon as you connect to your data source, and there's a lot of data source that you can connect to. We'll show it to you live. At the same time, where you can very easy that will take and design your data sources similar to data warehouse and lab cubes, where smart enough to distinguish between dimensions and measures. So those kind of numeric values, these are like a string values based on the data source that you have connected to. So as soon as you do that, Tableau has a very nice sheets. Uh, I recommend rename the sheets. Don't leave it sheet 1, sheet 2, so you people know what exactly it's about. And here's we try to do the best sales by region with a filter, sales to, all that things. Then you can drag and drop to the chart itself, or definitely you can drag to the columns and rows. Then you do filters, you can do colors. So there's a lot very powerful. You will enjoy working with it. I enjoy personally working with it. And you can also see the result when you filter that. You can do presentation here when you finish work with that. So let me go through those slides very quick, just to show you what you can do. You can do time series. You can do very nice scattered as a time series as well. And you can change the colors based on specific things that you're interested. You can fill areas as well. Very powerful that you can work with what we call it geographic maps. Very impressive to see this, and we'll do a couple of work maybe later on. So you can see the data presented by colors, by state. So geographically well designed, and that's where we call latitude and longitudes. They are somewhere here. My favorite is the circles, bubbles. So you can see that it gives you a story there by itself based on those ages or values. I think you'll do this as well on your assignments down the road. You'll do the Pareto chart, which is 80-20 for quality and for testing. You'll do also like this correlations between your variables, numerical variables, so you can see is it negative or positive, or there's no correlation because there's scattered everywhere. You will do forecast or trend lines as well, and you compare them by products, and you will do that as well. And we mentioned about dimensions and measures. So dimensions are your categorical fields, measures are your metrics continuously, and those were definitely is smart enough through the architect of Tableau. Of course, you can convert between these as well as a user, but definitely it's smart enough to distinguish those. There's a lot of data, text data, date, values, date and time, numerical, geographic, latitude and longitude. You can do Boolean values, and so on. So let's go ahead and make sure, yeah, set up the problem. All right, let me close this kind of to that. And as soon as you install Tableau, as I said, you go and you open it. Of course, if you have history like me, there's a lot of work done. And so here we connect Excel, and you can see there's a lot of things you can do, and these are the type that you can connect. You can connect to Excel, you can connect to Cube, you can connect to text files, CSV file, JSON, and special data, and so on. So you define those as well. You can open those as well. So definitely, you go Excel. When you do Excel, I will go and I have for this demo a file called sample. Just save the time. First time probably takes some minutes, and especially when you run all of this at the same time. So definitely, that's where I want to go and connect to my Excel, which I did open it already here. So I should be able to see it here right away. There you go. So when you open Excel, that's the file. After it will take a couple of seconds. So just for saving the time, I already opened it before we started. Just kind of browse the file. When you do that, you see the file here. The file has tabs or sheets, and that's exactly where you will see Tableau. They have your sheets as a tables. And this file, for demo purposes, you have orders, you have returns, you have users, and so on. So very simple. You drag and drop sheets here. So we can go ahead and say, hey, give me the orders. And again, if you have any other tables, you can go look for that. So what's happening now, we'll go and open all the data set. This is a big data. This will give you the first 1,000 rows. So here's my trick for you. Just go ahead and change this to 9999999. I press enter. Let's give you the real records. So we have about 9,426. You can see those kind of showing you there. So very simple spreadsheet. You view it here, and I want you to keep in your mind, look for those symbols. So the hash meaning numeric, ABC meaning string, and those were determined, is it dimensional or is it measure? So these definitely will be measure. These will be dimensions or categorical as well. So you can see those numeric measures, and ABC and so on. So if you scroll to the right side, this is kind of match exactly your columns on the spreadsheets until you see something different. You see a symbol of globe, that's kind of state. So that's by itself, its geographic role. Here's another city, postal code. So these are geocoded as well. Then you see another symbol, the date itself as a symbol as well, and date and time shipping, and back to numeric and so on. So definitely, it's very interesting to view this. There's a lot to go in it. You can, say, hey, sort for me the unit price. So you can click on this guy. So this will be sorted, ascending, descending for specific this column. Of course, everything corresponding as well. You can describe this column, for example, unit price, we're sitting there, and it say load. It will tell you very nice. These are the ranges, if you can see it. I don't know if you can read it, 0.99 to 6,783.02. So definitely, that's very interesting to see that. If you go for something else, for example, what kind of ship mode, I like to go to describe so you can see your stuff there and say load. Oh, we have 3 members. Either you go by truck or by express, air, or by regular. So this is really very interesting to see and work with Tableau to kind of get a feeling about your data. Of course, you can hide and show. There's a lot of details, and we try just to go through it very quick here. And of course, if you have another table, which probably you drag that guy, see if he's there. Now you can see now start to make the relationship. Hopefully will not break my system here with a lot of things running. I should pull that, that's okay. So definitely that's where nice. It will go and make connection, joining. Welcome back to MySQL, right? But this is in the Tableau bag. I tell you default inner, left, right, and outer. Definitely, you can see if you go and say, well, how many of these? Less than 1,000. So really, you have 98. Definitely, we don't want to run all with 98. But if you have that, that's exactly what you want to do. But we're going to remove this for demo purposes. And now we go back to just one table called orders. So the way it works, very nice. As soon as you set up your tables, you go, sheet 1 is there. So first one, data source, this is sheet 1. And now this is exactly what I show you in my slide. So now you can see dimensions, measures. So dimensions is geographic as well, city, and postal code, and times, and other things. So we can do a lot of things we can do. Let's go, we'll start with just a cross tab. Very simple table that you're interested to go and work with. So definitely, I would say, hey, go ahead and show me the region. And again, you can drag it here, or you can drag it to where you want. So let's drag it here. So here's my regions. So you have central, east, south, and west. And he's looking for some values there. So again, there's a lot of way to do, and you can do cells in numeric measures cells. So you can go to the cells. Again, you can put those cells right away. If I can drag in 1 second here. So like these peels, and you can drop it, this guy here, ABC. So now he's ready to go. He show you those values. Of course, you can do formatting, coloring. There's a lot of feature there as well. So very interesting. Now we say, well, we want to show that, you know, by the column. So let's say, give me the ship mode. Now he should remember the 3 ship modes. So now this is your truck, this is your air, and this is your things that you can see there. Let's see if I can zoom in. Maybe not. Okay. So definitely, that's very simple table. Remember, sheet 1 is coming from here. Definitely, you want to rename it. So instead of sheet 1, you say, hey, this is a cross tab. And you're dealing with, you know, sales by ship mode. You can describe it. Again, you don't have to write all of this here. But as soon as you do that, you click on this guy here. And it's sheet name ones, and you can continue. You know, this is 2001, and now we can see 2001 being added. It's not in the sheet name as well. So definitely, that's cool. Where you can see that, and you can work with it. You can label it. You can do a lot of work on it, and so on. So this is nice. And you can say, well, we want some filters there. So we can filter very easy and say, hey, let's go and filter, for example, you can filter the same, maybe by ship modes, fine. So you filter, you see that arrow there, sitting there. So now you filter, say, do you want to filter everything? Yeah, all, then it's okay. Now you have filter. Definitely the filter will not show until you say show it. So there's another trick here, say show the filter. It will pop up for you somewhere here. Now I can say, hey, just show me the tracks. I'm interested to look for only for the tracks. Turn it off, and this guy here. Here's the track, show me, let me compare tracks with regular air. And now he got starting, very nice story there. So you can take this guy there, and now you can see he's there right away. Very cool. You can duplicate this, right click. And now you can see it's duplicate 2, we leave that, or you can change it. If you click on that, the sheet name, so definitely you want to go and change that. Well, I want to show you here, very cool. So now we start with just cross tab. Oh, show me here, give you a lot of very powerful things. Let me do a bar chart. Let me do a pie. Let me do stacked bar chart. Let me do scattered. Let me do others. Very nicely. Oh, my favorite, remember that? Here you go. Very nice. So, and very beautiful from Tableau. They tell you exactly what you need if you want to get. And you can see a couple of them, they are not enabled because it will not fit what you have here. And very cool, say, hey, you need 1 dimension and so on. So let's go back to, here you go, tree. And we'll cover those probably more in details or others on next week. But it's very cool to start with this, and you can have a good start working with Tableau as you see there. So definitely you can play with this. Any value you like, you go back here. Now we need to remove this, just say show me out. And still you have this guy. So here's everything. And here's the delivery again and so on. We need some colors. Yeah, I like colors like everybody else. So now we can say, well, let me show that's by region. So you can take that region. It doesn't matter, it's something different. And you see, you drag it to the color marker palette. And we do that. Now very cool, you add more stuff. And if you don't like these colors, you can go drop down here, edit the colors, and say, hey, you know what, central, I don't want to pick it blue, let's make it purple, purple day. Apply and okay. So no more blue for central, it is purple. So you can change that. You can reset basically back to the blue, which default as a template. So you can do that. Now you can see, I can say, hey, show me nothing, show me just the express air. And here's the 3 regions that you can see there. You can build more filters. It's drag and drop, and it's easy to see. You can switch this graph to horizontal. So swap, see that here? Now it is vertical, and I can read this. My brain can read this, basically, and that's exactly what's cool. Then you can start to say, hey, let me label it with something. So maybe you can use something else, like something fancy. City, yeah, maybe. So we go city and say, hey, label it here, and here you go, a couple of cities. Chicago, Philadelphia, LA, and so on. Again, you need to select the good values to present a good data. If you change your mind, say, no, I don't want that. So you can see here, city text. You can just drag it back. So it's drag here in and off. And you can put this not really a label because maybe it's over. You can say, let me take it back and put it like a tool tab. So now you'll not see it, and you can see it's a tool tab, but now you can see star, meaning that there's a bunch of cities that fit there, and definitely that's maybe not the best tool tab to show you that, but again, just to show you how things you can do work with this as well. So it's cool to design this, and I like a couple of cross tabs here, or tiles we call them. So I give you that. So definitely you can do a lot of things, give me the region again, tool tab. Now you can see the region regular air and I'm sorry, central for regular air. This is, you can see east, and you can see it in the tool tab. So you don't have to have it in 2 places, but you can. So definitely it's fun to see those things, and you can change the color as well anytime. If you don't like this color, you can say edit the color. Then they give you very nice palettes. Give me red and gold. So now you have more stuff like there, and work with it. All right, I have about 3 minutes. When you finish your work, my recommendation all the time, be sure you give a sheet, and we'll continue this fun next week. We'll tell you how you build a dashboard and story. Of course, we can't do everything tonight, but I would like you to be sure you do this. You go File, Save As, and I'll go and save it to the desktop if we use it next week. I have it handy to my WebEx usually. And that's why I want you to go and change to TWBX. TWBX is called Tableau Package Workbook. So this is where now we'll take the data embedded in your files, and we'll go and label them. So let's go ahead and let's call this book one. We can call the name. So let's call it sales and give it today's date. A couple of these did for the previous classes. So let's label this sales 10/23 and 2018. That's fair enough. Again, be sure you have TWBX from here. So next time when you open it, you don't have to worry about where's the data or Excel file. So we're going to save that. And then when you're done, just go ahead and close it. I'll leave it open if somebody has a question because it takes some time. All right. So any question? Any question? I hope recording is working. Otherwise, we cannot push it to the others. Any question? If you have one, please unmute and hit the question. Any question? Okay. Well, with that, we want to thank you very much. It's about 8 o'clock. And again, if you have a question, please don't hesitate to contact me or your professor or our FAs. We are here to helping you, and I appreciate your work hard in this. And we're so excited to be part of your success story. If there's no last question, we can adjourn. Any question? Right. If you remember any question, you know where to find us through either email or ask your professor or your FA sections. Thank you very much. I hope this being recorded, and we'll talk to you later. Thank you. See you next week.